Energy, how you were highlighting Ryu, and I agree. I felt like he had really good bunkers that whole game. But another solo laner that we got to highlight in his macro pressure he was putting on, especially once he had the keep, was Hugo.
Hugo on that Malthael, he was very reliant on it in China, as we mentioned, but on the Pale Horse, able to rotate, and of course, always being with his team when it comes to those blow-ups with that last fight. He's very reliant on that as well, as it is the more meta choice at this point. He has been putting on quite the show with this hero, and it allows them to blow up some of those tanky heroes. It allows them to all in on the Garrosh for that percentage damage.
Well, the leftovers have been watching this match very closely. We even got some cheers whenever Mindfreak did win some fights, and now they will be watching ever so closely for this last game. They need Mindfreak to win this next one. It's going to be on
Drumroll, please.
Cursed Hollow.
Well, this plays right into the one. I mean, you mentioned Hugo. We saw the play. It's how they've been picking up wins. And it's something when we see their counterparts, the other people from that region, it's like sometimes they're too afraid to push out. They're too afraid to get ganks because they've been going against some really stiff, really aggressive compositions, but they've been playing it so well. The On a Pale Horse, the different strategies that they've managed to use to just, no matter what, they always find a way to say, we've got enough experience, we keep up in this game, and then when it's time to fight, they're in a very primed position because of that off-lane play.
You said the On a Pale Horse, that Malthael, but we can't forget about one of Hugo's other big pick heroes, the Illidan. This is a large map. Hunt Illidan can come into play here if they play it, and if not, Metamorphosis Illidan can allow you those big tribute fights if the one are feeling to go down that particular route.
I know it wasn't the one, but it was CE, I believe, that played a meta Illidan
They did.
on Cursed Hollow. I think that was right before the mid-season
Yeah.
brawl, and boy, was it fun to watch!
Interestingly enough, Cursed Hollow is actually one of the one's lesser picked maps, due to the fact they've only played it 3 times and have only won once. So seeing the Abathur ban for starters, that is incredibly sensible. Those of you who pay attention to the Blizz Heroes media might have seen a lovely video by my co-commentator Kendrick Swish from HGC China, where he broke down a play by Hugo and an Abathur assisting him on Sky Temple, where they absolutely dominated in basically a 1 versus 4 with a Metamorphosis Illidan. It is a solid idea to remove that capability.
I'm just thinking that if we are going to see the Brightwing again from Mindfreak, Brightwing's a pretty decent counter to a dive-style hero like Illidan. So there are some counters, even the Lili we've seen come out at this tournament. So there's several different things. If you're going to do that, you're in the second pick position. So it's a 2-2-1, right? So you get last pick as the second pick. So if they're going to do that, they got to be careful of things like Cassia, Lili, Johanna, things that generally counter those style of play.
Plus,
we'll see.
Emerald Wind is great boss control to help with that too.
Yeah.
And talking about boss control, Hanzo has made it through the bans. I wonder if we will get him before the second bans. Mindfreak's gonna get aggressive, and you know what goes great with a Brightwing? A Genji.
The Genji, the potential Brightwing bombs with the Genji to deliver that payload could still once again come back in. And if not, we saw a triple reset comp earlier on today with this Brightwing that was super cool to see.
We could see another Anubrak this side on the Mindfreak side if they wanted to dive in and get in those picks. I mean, Anubrak comes in, the Maiev gets the tether, you can always burrow charge away. It also gives Genji that locked-in target to get that lockdown. See if they commit to something like that. With Diablo off the table, you always have to worry about the Garrosh getting the toss back, the tether. So much displacement is always very difficult, and when you have a Hunter's Mark on you and you're living in that backline, it's not a pleasant feeling.
Can we talk about that we're living in a world currently where both Maiev and Genji make it through bans? Of course, they were picked up incredibly quickly here, and now for Mindfreak, Decade, Kane, fantastic support. Good potential interrupts for the Maiev if they can get her after she sues Vault of the Wardens. And Hanzo, incredible damage output, potential global late game as well.
Yeah, and Toronto's cleanse doesn't work on roots. And you had me looking quizzical because, also, yeah. Because you're right, Genji and Maiev did get through, and that's because Greymane was banned.
Yeah.
What do you guys make of that one? Because if you're talking about who can get a boss really quickly, Hanzo seems like also another hero that does that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what scenario Greymane takes priority over Hanzo, and the objective I'm thinking of is tankiness. With both Garrosh and now Diablo removed, and Noob's getting taken out as well.
Man, this is a veritable tank. What's the opposite of a smorgasbord? Famine. Take famine. There we go. I don't know what's happening right now.
So the tank picks are certainly more limited now. If we're looking for higher hit point tanks, we're assuming maybe the Cursed Bullet was a reason. We might be looking at Stitches, for example. If not, then this Great Main might have just been they don't want to deal with Burst if they're sticking with the Celestial Attunement on the Tyrande. They're going to be sticking with Muradin, one of the other incredibly high hit point tanks, and some extra slows to synergize with the Phoenix.
The Phoenix is something that they've run on this map multiple times, so they're very comfortable with this style of play. It gives them the sustained auto attack damage to follow up the playmaking that we've seen from the Maiev throughout. So they have a lot going for them, and Muradin, as he stacks up, as we're going to see a Tyrael.
Bring it.
This is double support Brightwing. It's in.
Dahaka.
Like I said, as McIntyre wants us to send it, I think as he walked by there. We hear you, Mac. Mac's getting involved in the draft. He had a good day today. But Dahaka gives you that global pressure, gives you that wave clear, denies that away, but it doesn't matter. With that being said, Illidan, as the last pick, after you've seen what's there, think about this for a second, right? Hanzo, maybe a Dragon's Arrow, but that's going to be at point-blank range. Genji, that's cute. Deckard's your best bet.
Key.
Tyrael, no CC. Dahaka, very skill shot-oriented CC that you can dodge and try and sidestep and make plays around. That Illidan, once that draft started to unfold, it's like Tyrael, Dahaka, it's like, ooh, I'll lock this in, no problem.
Free reign.
Perfect draft there to get their Illidan in that last spot.
Am I persuading you? Are you joining us? He's got it on.
Oh my.
My hands are too big. Let's go.
It was hard to convince him.
Zero hesitation for me.
Meng Maiev, Hugo Illidan. This is such a solid TheOne draft. They have their comforts. But Mindfreak, if you look at it, there's so much potential for big blow-ups if they're able to play right and potentially for some big saves or some sank turnarounds. I like both drafts, but TheOne, they've got so many comfort picks.
There are also some heroes that when you consider like the Hanzo Genji duo together, that's something that I've seen Snitch and Poik pull off very well, right? When you get the cut down with the scatter arrow and then you can go back in or go in with the Genji once they get low. But all of these things like Sanctification, they require very good synergy together, working together, you know, if they're going to run like Stay a While with Sanctification 2, how they're going to set those things up, make sure that they control the momentum of this, and I don't know if it's going to be enough versus the momentum of TheOne, because TheOne are a bullet train heading through the rest of this group stage.
Salvo scares me, but there's a small part of me that says, well, that's nice that you're diving, I'm going to counter dive. Yeah, except for the Hanzo, that scares me. But Deckard seems like he can live through anything. Maybe the Hanzo can't, so Sanctification will help deal with the onslaught. It's just a matter of, can you survive that? And do you have enough return damage?
Right.
Genji is looking to dive and really be the executioner in a lot of styles. The Tyrande's back there waiting to be picked.
Yeah.
But the sustainability of a Phoenix, of an Illidan, of a Maiev, and a Muradin, I don't know how you're going to pop that if you're trying to do two different things.
Yeah.
It is either all defense or all offense, so maybe something different to mix it up.
Well, let's hear what Dread and Skimmy have to think about this game. Are TheOne going to keep going? Are they going to get the 2-0?
You know, I think I'm on the one hype train, but I can't help but feel like standing next to this guy that it might not be the same case.
Look, I'm really disappointed that, J-House just betrayed me like this. I knew Tetch was going to call some banter. He's called some banter, but I need to see some results now from Mindfreak, because this is a map that they do not like to play. They banned it as their most banned map. They've only played it once during the season leading up to this, so this is TheOne getting comfort picks, getting a map that they're very happy to take Mindfreak to, and saying, hey, look, we mean business. We want to really cause an upset here in the grand scheme of things.
I think coming into this tournament, if you were to show me this draft, I would be like, this is so very much what this team wants to have happen here in this situation. And then considering the fact that it is kind of the Mindfreak here on the back foot, it is a bit of a concern, but we'll find out if they have what it takes here. In blue, we got Mad Hacks on the Deckard Kane. Vanilla going to be on that Genji. Fat 94 on the Tyrael. Ryu playing Dahaka. And John on Hanzo.
And looking to cause a stir at this tournament, it is TheOne with ZJZ on Tyrande, Meng on the Maiev, Hugo on his coveted Illidan, He on the Muradin, and Lies playing the Phoenix. A macro-orientated map. There's a part of me, Dread, that really, really wants to think this is going to be a judgment and not even a sanctification.
I actually was thinking that quite a bit in the back of my mind as well, just because I don't know if they have the tools to be able to handle the Illidan, though I do think the Sanctification can be very, very valuable. And with the Genji, I mean, we know the dream of the Dragon Blade coming online, but something inside of me as well was going, I'm not sure if this is going to be the one-to-one that we expect, because Mindfreak on the back foot, I feel, needs to find a way to catch them off guard. But we do end up seeing the commitment here at level 1 for Hugo. More farm focus there with the unending hatred.
Already going for the push in the bottom lane. They want to siege this in very, very hard, saying, look, this is what you could have done with that Sergeant Hammer last game, but you chose not to, so we're going to punish you. We want that early game lead. Now, if we actually take a quick observation here of these two competitions, it's very easy for you to look at Mindfreak and say, they've got the Hanzo, that's boss control, the Scat Arrow. Yeah, they got Dahaka for global, but this is a fighting team in its own essence as well. If they do go for the Judgment, you've got Dragon's Arrow, Judgment, somebody is going to die with that Genji.
Yeah, it's a pretty good probability as long as it's onto the Tyrande or maybe a post-Vault Maiev. But before we even get to that point, I've got to raise a bigger concern, and that is just, even if these team fights are going to be on even footing, the fact that the one is already starting away with the siege on the bottom half, end up getting the Stormbolt, Lunar Flare, Tether, and First Blood now on bottom. Things are going great here for the one.
They really are. There's a degree of confidence that you can just feel in the atmosphere here. The one have woken up. They've come to this tournament. They mean business. And they even said in their interview leading up to this, if there's one team, if there's one accomplishment from this entire tournament we want to take away, it's beating Mindfreak here. We were very disappointed with how we performed at the mid-season brawl, not beating anybody, not taking any maps. But we're coming here, and they've definitely proved that so far.
They've done beyond that, really. The fact that they have found ways to get victories over teams like Tempest, I feel right now everybody's starting to go, you know, is there a point where this team stops? Because it's not often we talk about the momentum swing of Chinese players. Hugo, great patience there on his cue, making sure to wait for the scroll of sealing to finish before getting the dive in, dashing right out. That was clever play, and part of the reason he is very well known for his Illidan.
Correct. It's a very satisfying hero, much the same as a Tracer is, especially when you get to play it on land and you can dodge and dive and bob and weave and make things happen in a crazy fashion as such. First tribute will be spawning in the top side of the map. Slap bang in the middle right there. As conveniently enough, we're going to see a delay, but also a double pickup here by the one for both those mercenaries.
Not an advantage when it comes to the giant rotation for Mindfreak. A little bit more ideal here when looking at the one, but the Dahaka on the bottom half has the opportunity to get that clear out if he would like to do so. Currently posturing maybe to make a transition up and not burn a brush stock. I would argue that if I'm the one in this situation, I send Illidan to the mid lane, get the prep out, just win that 1v1, and then let those Giants do work. The one, I feel their intent here should be delay, not worried about the tribute itself based on, again, Dahaka's transitions.
We can see Dahaka in the mid lane. You can see Hugo has responded as Illidan as well. That's going to be unending hatred stacks, but hold the phone because there's a lot of damage going out here onto Fan94. He tries to jump away, but he actually gets tethered and taken on down. 2 kills pick it up here for the one. They're getting macro advantage in the bottom lane. They're going to pick up a tribute, although it has been interrupted, but it's looking quite likely. This is so good.
Yeah, Vanilla needs to get a reset onto Hugo if they have any opportunity of denying this objective. ZJZ, they're going in for another heal, knowing that that might be the circumstance here. Giants still welling away on the bottom half there. With the 4 down, eventually it's not going to lead to too much, but the fact that they have even that pressure out, they can predict a rotation. If you're the one, you know that bottom has to be responded to. The answer is, where's the pressure go? Top lane, and Hanzo is going to be the first victim. Surely some forts behind it.
Pretty disgusting right now, Dreadnought, I'm not going to lie. Level 7 unlocked here for the one. They've got bottom lane pressure, as you mentioned, as you also say, the predictability. They get the kill, they get the gank, and it is successful. Would not be surprised here if we see a very early boss call, just to really hammer home this advantage come level 10.
Yeah, even with, especially with the Illidan Tyrande, those are some of the best kind of boss control heroes other than, let's be real here, Hanzo, who broke the rules of boss control long ago, boss racing. He is on another level, but Tyrande Illidan is one of the original kind of 2-man boss backdoors that you used to see way back in the day, and something that we've got to keep our eyes on here. Vanilla, though, does he have a Swift Strike available? Trying to dodge a Storm Bolt, not going to be the case. No Swift Strike, I feel, at that point in time. Surely would have used it there. And another kill here for the one. 4-0 so far. A tribute about to spawn. And as you were talking about that early boss, this is normally after this tribute when I'd expect to see the one transition.
And like I say, everything is working picture perfect right now for the one. The tribute spawns on their doorstep. They can then literally rotate to the boss afterwards. It's literally just spawned now as well at the 5-minute mark. Members are there. The response has to be here from Mindfreak. we have to take our boss. We cannot allow a double boss rotation. Top lane pushes in, they hard push us bot, they force a team fight, they hit 10. Like, that is a game-losing play.
It's a big play here coming out from the1. I would argue that I feel like they were a little bit slow on the decision-making. If you're going to make this play, getting the boss earlier than Mindfreak puts you in a big advantage when it came to the rotations. They stalled out. They were like, do we want top 4 first? Oh, this is going to take too long. The Hanzo race. Just a bit of kind of maybe succinct decision-making necessary there for the1, but you can see that they are very much kind of cleaning up those type of decisions and plays as this tournament moves on. Part of the reason they've been so threatening, this will lead to an inevitable double 4 pickup for the1, both on top and bottom. And as the experience creeping upward, this is going to allow Illidan have a lot of play territory, and that is exactly what you want. He's very Tracer-esque in the more room you give him, the bigger of a problem he is going to be.
And he had a lot of room there to chase down Vanilla if he had decided, but without that vision point as well, he is unable to chase. He knew that Mindfreak were, well, a possibility of them coming on through. Tribute now will be spawning in the bottom half of the map, and once again, Dread, it's like, it's so fantastic for the1 because Mindfreak are going to have to be preoccupied in that top lane. This is giving them a guaranteed curse. They've not even touched the boss that's being picked up here by Mindfreak. They say, we don't care about that. We want map control. We have 10s. You have to come to us, but hang on a minute. You got to respond to top lane. So the1 right now getting fantastic opportunities.
And if anybody on Mindfreak overextends, you can expect the Hunt all-in one-shot capabilities here because they very much have the initiation. Meng kind of waiting in the wakes there. Not going to get revealed. There he goes over the wall, hits a 2-man tether. Fan of Knives reset is going to be there. The Hunt comes through with the Lunar Flare. The damage as the Containment Disc lands onto the Tyrael. No sanctification because of pre-10, but also, again, the Containment Disc isolation. Vanilla waiting on the side, questioning if anybody maybe makes a mistake. Can I find a reset? Can I recover this initiation? But it seems like the answer is nigh. We'll have an interrupt capabilities, but beyond that, this feels as if it's a curse for the1.
And Maddox has not even gone at level 7 for the Emerald Gen. The reduction of healing, no. He's going for Kanai's Cube. He wants to try and reduce as much damage as possible. That is not going to be enough, Drake, because they are going to fall on down. But that is going to be Descentification. They're going to pair that quite nicely with the Dragon Blades. We're not going to see the all-in engage with that Judgment like we might have seen. But speaking of, that is a Dragon Arrow to start things off.
Dragon Blade's going to be pop. Sanctification there as well. Hacking and slashing. ZHZ gives over first reset. Vanilla is showing some work here. Hey, trying to get away. Has one Stormbolt
Nice.
remained. Lornado drop there, stopping the retreat, forcing out that Avatar. Salvo also going to be thrown out there as the Plasma Cutter used. And look at that. Enough to pick off the Hanzo. Great damage there from coming out from it's Lies, actually, on that Phoenix.
Lies was like, okay, look, you've had your fun in the sun. You've had 2 kills right there. But look, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to 5-man salve you and say, we're here. This is our map. This is our style. You are not enjoying this one, that's for sure. Mindfreak had a little bit of opportunity there. But once that cooldown is burnt, once certification expires, so much trouble.
And normally, I would argue that the Mindfreak finding a situation to be able to skirmish and demand resources from the1 to not push during a curse is very, very valuable for them. And I think it still was a great decision-making across the board. But normally what that does is stop that macro pressure elsewhere, and you suddenly find yourself near even footing. You're going to be just fine. But we have to remember, because of the dominance displayed in transitions already from the1, top and bottom fort fell. That's normally what you see end up falling over that first curse here. So it's not that big of a setback overall.
Skirmish breaks out there in the mid lane. Lies forced to burn that wall.
Ryu.
Hunt.
Lunar Flare ends up coming out along with the Decker Cane Lornado. Not enough to clip anybody too far. Meng finds a couple of Fan of Knives resets. Scroll the ceiling dodge by that Volt out from him. With the Night Camp cleared up, unlikely for the1 to force the hand anymore. Giants are going to be available for them, as we know the top tribute is there. The ideal situation here would be for auto attacks on Illidan to reset the Hunt, which is why he's the man going for the Giants. And then once that gets done, you put yourself in a situation to where you can enable the bottom lane pressure and then use the Hunt in the downtime. It's a tough answer. It's a tough question kind of over the next tribute here for Mindfreak, as they have kind of yet to find themselves a way to handle those.
This is a situation where you want to say, Dread, try and force this fight right now whilst the Hunt is unavailable, whilst he's soaking his side lane, whilst he's doing the mercenary camp, try and force. But that Dragon Arrow on a 10-second cooldown has been so paramount to trying to make things happen, trying to start up that initiation there with the Dragon Blade for the sanctification to protect it. And that timing is not going to be enough. But what will be good enough is the fact that both these teams are on an even footing, level 13 now.
Fat gets tethered, ends up getting the follow-up onto the Aldruin. Bottom Giants are still being prepped there by Hugo. We'll see what the transition is when it comes to Ryu there on the Dahaka. Will look like it's going to be the match as Knights are pressuring for the1. The one should send Hugo to be able to get the clear on the Knights, because actually keep in mind, you cannot hunt from bottom lane all the way up to that tribute distance, so that middle clear is going to be a pretty easy work for him. It all comes down to who gets rid of the mercenaries faster and drops those globals and is successful.
I mean, it's two birds, one stone, right? You're getting so much value by doing that. You've got the opportunity to clear a lane. If a fight breaks out, you can jump in. If it doesn't, you're pushing a lane out, which needs to be pushed anyway. So that's XP for you. Tahaka does have that advantage, obviously, with the brush dogger, and they had to both respond in that fashion. One thing to talk about, though, is if a big team fight breaks out now, two bosses are available.
Dragon's Arrow was actually used. Stormbolt comes through. Sanctification to be able to save Dragon Blade pop. This is the answer here from Vanilla, trying to find a reset. Ryu comes in there. Two-man tether coming out from Meng. Vanilla still trying to hack and slash, but Mad Hacks is the focus. Meng finds his first victim. Containment disc onto Hanzo. And a double kill here for the one, but look at Lies coming in with another salvo. Good deflect there from Vanilla. But three members of Mindfreak go down. The one on a tear here and get a fourth tribute in a row.
The one are ripping this map anew. They're going to go through right now and pick up that boss. You may see them suck it on through to the bottom lane as well and say, look, we can dance for as long as we need to. You had to clear top lane. We've already done damage to that before. That's going to be working towards a keep if we take bottom boss as well. We have two win conditions to play around with. That's going to give us level 16, so then we find ourselves in the talent tier advantage and such a big difference in XP. And it's quite a scary situation, Dread. So far, the dominance, the alpha asserting performance, really, if anything, from the one is definitely on full display.
It is very much so, and it may continue to be so as we see Mindfreak really trying to get a boss to answer of their own. But it's sniffed out here. Hugo gets it. Sentinel gets full reveal here. This is a very risky choice here. Holy Ground is the only way to be able to ensure that this goes over, but look at that, already forcing the fight. Scoreless Ceiling going to be dropped, ends up landing on top of two. They get the kill onto Meng, and that is enough to maybe win this boss fight. Lornado goes through, boss slam down.
Notice how he is positioning right there, looking if he can be sneaky, looking if he can pick it up. It is a 4v5, however, and ultimates are going to come online very, very shortly for Mindfreak. 5 seconds on that certification. A two-man route. That's massive. The slam might come across and do some damage.
Oh.
It connects.
The hunt.
The hunt is there onto the backline for Maddox. Certification is huge.
Boss
That's
is
going to give
down.
him life. The boss is down. They're going to go on that point, but the salvo is going to do so much damage. And members are falling left, right, and center, but it's all going to be on Mindfreak's side. They lose the boss, and Lies going absolutely huge. Unlucky to pick up the 5-man wipe, but Dreadnought, top lane's pushing, bot lane's pushing, their wipe. This was a performance and a half.
That very much was. Lies really stepping up here with his salvos this game. My goodness, the stars aligning there over that last skirmish. Setting up for a double key play, and now the boss. And look at this, Hugo wastes no time. He is already working here onto the shields. Mindfreak all now just spawning. This is their last stand.
This is very much so. What do they have up there? Trick of sleeves. Try and
Reset
fight something.
one.
Phoenix is gone. The core is down to 55% right now, but they need more than that. Lorna is going to come across. It's not going to be able to find too much. Their slam jumps down. Hugo is low, but it's not going to matter. The one get the 2-0, and more importantly, really showcase that China are here to party at BlizzCon.
They very much are here to party, maybe too much so if you're a Mindfreak fan. That boss party was a little bit more exciting than anyone maybe would have known there. And it should be noted that that was a 4 versus 5 against the one. Yes, they did have a talent tier advantage, but that opened with Meng just pretty much getting one shot there on the Maiev, just showcasing how skilled the one is on an independent and individual level. I feel that they are a team that has been pretty much, I don't want to use solo queuers, but kind of that I am very good mechanically. How do I work as a squad? And as this progresses and that teamwork and synergy keeps rising, you got to start wondering, you know, where is this team going to place here at the HGC Finals?
I'm quite excited to see exactly where this journey really expires, where it continues to, for a bit of a word. But you just see the amount of pressure that the one are able to emit. Just, I mean, if we run it back to that final clip right down the boss, the amount of mechanical mistakes that I saw from Mindfreak there, getting boss stung, getting rooted, getting outplayed. They had certification, they had the Lornado, they had all these abilities to try and prevent what happened, but they get outlasted. It almost showcases to me, based on the aggression, based on how in their face they were playing, Mindfreak were a little bit nervous, a little bit stressed out, unable to keep their composure, and ultimately drop out 2-0.
Well, you know, I'm sure that we have some couple happy panel members here, as we got a couple of New The One fans, I think, last time we spoke to them.
I'm going to get so roasted right now.
Let's just check in and see if, you know, that was up to snuff for them.
Indeed, I think it was up to snuff. The one with some beautiful team fights. Yeah, things happened. Things went down on that boss, but even that top fight with Illidan coming in, and then Lies. Remember, this is Melody C. This is a long-time player in the Chinese region, one of the oldest players that we still have left. He comes in, he's subbing for the team, but I feel like this was the first real show of him feeling confident, feeling like he can step forward, and he was aggressively warping, he was hitting 5-man salvos. Man, he was awesome that game.
That is the show of just an incredible legendary player being able to come into a team that you've not played with before, and not only perform but fit into the team so well and make the individual plays at the same time. I am just completely in awe of Lies.
Yeah, you and I were even talking about the fact that he might have even elevated this team forward before. Not that Keshi wasn't a good player, but when you have this experienced player with a huge hero pool that you can add in and have that kind of macro game sense that he had with SPT, it really feels like he just fits right in.
It did, and a lot of it was just around the fact that I feel their drafting seems to be out-drafting a lot of their opponents, and when you get Mang on Maev, all of a sudden you have that playmaker. That's all that you need. It doesn't matter. We've seen the choke on tanks throughout this series and questionably throughout the day against some other teams. And so you have different playmakers, but Lies coming in there, I mean, you said it, you're like, he's being so aggressive. And I'm like, yeah. And then I'm looking at the draft. I'm like, there's nobody that's going to interrupt him. It's like, he'll warp in. I'm like, I would warp in that situation. Illidan's like, okay, I see like the top fight. He's like, I see everybody dive. He hunted the backside. And then all of a sudden Genji and everybody's all over the place. And it was just exactly how I said in that draft. If you get too split, you cannot deal with that amount of pressure and the sustainability from the side of TheOne. Excellent draft, excellent execution.
And this is a really historic moment because I remember last year, last BlizzCon, we had CE, we had BTG, SPT2, and the CE was very close to making it out of their group, but then Tempo Storm won the rematch, and that felt like the best Chinese hope. All of this year really has felt like China trying to rebuild, and no, the one aren't in yet, but I know that they feel like, you know, they have this, they're representing so much more being able to make it as far as they have.
This is kind of a redemption story for China, like you said. They have just underperformed at every event since Easter. We're going to be honest about it. We are going to talk about it and say they did not perform on an international scale. The Eastern clashes were very one-sided, but that is Korea. That is another whole thing.
Right.
But in this case, when BTG at the Eastern clash looked like the better team, at this and during HGC China, BTG looked like the better team. At this event, the One are the team who have shown up, and they are performing on an international level.
Yeah, I guess, you know, there have been times when that's happened with CE and SPT too, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, you never know who's going to be adapting better, who the meta suits more, but it feels like in that case, it's definitely the One. And we do need to talk about the fact now that Leftovers are unable to make it to the next stage of this tournament, which itself also is quite historic because last year, all of the European teams made it through with flying colors. And then beyond that, Expert got that big match versus Dignitas, the upset there, but still, it's crazy to think now that there is already one European team that's out.
I want to put this into context because I'm still a huge Leftovers fan. If we look at the total of that roster, it's Mopsio. We know what he did at the first Western Clash, gets on a new roster, basically replicates almost the same thing, except they were a better team. You now all of a sudden have stars like DAB that are coming out linked, who's put his name on the map big time. Everybody in Europe knows who this guy is. And all of a sudden you have these people that start to get LAN experience, start to experience competition. And they've done it at an accelerated pace. This is very rare for a team who came in. I mean, you've got Crucible people coming in. We know there's another story kind of like that. It's very different because their history. This is some teams that didn't have history, players that didn't have history. Then they get LAN experience at the Clash. Now they're here at international experience. That does nothing but bode well for their chances next year.
And you know, there is another European team that wants to prove that it's not just Dignitas that's left to represent Europe. That's Team Liquid. That's a team, the only team that's so far taken a game off of Gen G. And they're going up against Tempo Storm. After the break, we'll have the last match of the evening. Don't go anywhere.
That. The One now with the 20 advantage. Fat's the focus. No indomitable use. There it comes through. Last right's going to be dropped, and so will Fat 94.
That he will indeed. No bunker this time. He's going to survive. That's going to be the arrow from downtown. Blaze taking a lot of damage. Madhack's getting deleted right there on your screen. And Jordan in the backline hits the concussion.
There was actually used. Stormbolt comes through. Sanctification to be able to save Dragonblade pop. This is the answer here from Vanilla. Trying to find a reset. Ryu comes in there. Two-man tether coming out from Meng. Vanilla still trying to hack and slash, but Madhax is the focus. Meng finds his first victim. Containment disc onto Hanzo. And a double kill here for the one. But look at Lies coming in with another salvo. Good deflect there from Vanilla.
Positioning right there, looking if he can be sneaky, looking if he can pick it up. It is a 4v5, however, and ultimates are going to come online very, very shortly for Mindfreak. 5 seconds on that certification. A two-man route. That's
Good
massive. The
slam.
slam might come across and do some damage.
Oh.
It connects.
The hunt.
The hunt is there onto the backline for Maddox. Certification is huge.
Boss
That's
is
going to give
down.
him life. The boss is down. They're going to go on that point, but the
Salvo.
salvo is going to do so much damage. And members are falling left, right, and center, but it's all going to be on Mindfreak's side. They lose the boss, and Lies going absolutely huge. Unlucky.